Hi, thanks, Alex. So my name's Claire Mentz, and I was the development lead on the Medical Services and Warfare 2 project. Um, Medical Services and Warfare 2 presents military, scientific, professional, and personal perspectives to explore medicine during conflict from the post-war period to 1949. So this is an 11 archive resource which documents a range of developments which changed medicine and patient care from the post-war period to the mid-20th century. And in many ways, it will show how requirements of modern warfare and the treatment of wounded soldiers brought about solutions which were later made available for civilian use. So we include materials on the antibiotics age, beginning with the discovery of penicillin and the subsequent system of mass production. Advances in the organisation of medical services during the Second World War is covered by a variety of papers on areas like plastic surgery, material on the awareness and treatment of typhus, malaria, burns, blood storage and shipment, nursing and humanitarian aid. The project also includes personal diaries, memoirs and correspondence, as well as reports, articles and papers that catalogue a range of technical and scientific innovations. And one of the key benefits this resource offers is the chance for comparative study, particularly for those researching innovations across the US and the UK. So, for example, content from the National Library of Medicine documenting treatments of psychiatric conditions can be viewed alongside the research of Sir Aubrey Lewis from the King's College London collections. Documents on public health in wartime in the United States can be compared to documents planning emergency medical services during World War II at the National Archives in the UK. A variety of tools for students include a continuation of the Wounded in Action feature, showing treatments of gunshot injuries and conflict, contextual essays on medical advances in the Spanish Civil War, treatment of burns at the East Grinstead Hospital, an essay on the eminent psychiatrist Aubrey Lewis, and then a Petri dish visualization based on frequent terms in the Alexander Fleming papers and the application of handwritten text recognition on his manuscripts. And that really makes these important scientific notebooks more searchable than ever before. So I'm just going to go on to talk about a couple of the key innovators and features that we have in the medical services resource. Firstly, the Fleming collection from the British Library, which includes 36 scientific notebooks of Sir Alexander Fleming, including those outlining the discovery of lysozyme, an early antibacterial, as well as the groundbreaking discovery of penicillin in 1928. And you can see pages seen from his scientific notebooks on this breakthrough on the slide here. So Fleming was a veteran of the First World War, and he was witness to many deaths of soldiers from infected wounds. He turned his attention to experimenting with antibacterial agents in the interwar period, and his discovery of penicillin was really a defining moment in the context of the Second World War, where quantities of penicillin were synthesized and distributed extensively to treat wounded soldiers on D-Day. And these scientific notebooks are full of data, drawings, penciled notes on his experiments, and they're described in detail by the British Library's extensive catalogue information. And then using the Petri dish visualization, which I've also featured on the slide, students are offered a really interesting way into these important papers, tracing how Fleming's research changed over time. So the next special feature I'd like to talk about is the Guinea Pig Club and Sir Archibald McIndoe. And these pages outline the range of primary sources we've included. So Sir Archibald McIndoe was a preeminent plastic surgeon of the 20th century, and the story of the airmen and the pilots he treated for severe burns is one of the great medical success stories of the Second World War. So McIndoe was in charge of one of the specialist wards at the Queen Victoria Hospital in East Grinstead, and he was also one of the pivotal figures in the government-created committee researching burns. He used saline treatments to wash wounds, and that made it possible for him to pioneer the use of the tube pedicle treatment. He learned this from Harold Gillies, and the tube pedicle was created by cutting a flap of skin from the chest or the neck, which could be stitched into a tube. And then by creating this tube, the surgeon maintained the blood supply to the tissue, keeping it alive and able to be used for skin grafting. These operations took months of painful repeat surgery, and in order to keep his patients' spirits up, Mackindo encouraged a boisterous and jolly atmosphere on his ward. So strong bonds between the patients were encouraged, which then led to the formation of a club, which bore the name resembling the manner of their ongoing and novel treatment. And they called themselves the Guinea Pig Club. They organised regular drinking jaunts, annual dinners, and many are still in touch with one another today. And one such member is Bob Marchant, who is the secretary of the Guinea Pig Club and also technical assistant to Mackindo. And we have a video interview with Bob Marchant here, who recounts life in the operating theatre and on Mackindo's ward, alongside lots of other documents featured from various archives on the Guinea Pig Club and Mackindo. So thanks very much for listening to this brief introduction to some of the highlights of the forthcoming project, which we'll be publishing in May.